Hi, my name is Mark Nedjma. I'm from Newsweed.com. Today is June 29th, 2022, and I'm just going to read you what I found in the news today. Start off with a place in Pennsylvania, Holy Sheets. Sheets, a gas station type Wawa place, is offering 2 grades of gasoline to consumers for under $4 per gallon through the July 4th holiday period. Sheets announced Monday afternoon it had temporarily reduced the price of unleaded 88 and E85 gasoline at some locations, and it helped to lower pain at the pump for consumers. That's good marketing. A hanging is stopped. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine has postponed the last execution that's scheduled for this year, pushing the October date of Kesey Bryan, convicted of killing Cleveland police officer. The move once again called into question the functionality of capital punishment in the state of Ohio. With an unofficial moratorium in place, a veteran defense attorney recently argued there's no point in holding death penalty trials for his client accused in a 2016 massacre of a Southern Ohio family. Why should we go through a death penalty trial when Ohio doesn't have the death penalty? Well, maybe the families need to get a little closure. In the spirit of Paterson, New Jersey, such a nice place, the mayor, Andrew Saig, is looking to give himself a $21,000 pay raise while raising the salary ranges for his cabinet members, according to a proposed measure his administration is presenting. Saig wants his salary increased from $119,000 to $140,000, according to the document. Saig administration's other proposed increases are as follows. Business administrator from $110,000 to $160,000. Community development director from $92,000 to $105,000 to $130,000. Economic development director from $107,000 to $140,000. I have to say that I once ran for mayor, and I have to agree with this particular mayor. Paterson is a complicated town, a historic town, and it's a big town. How can you trust that people will do a good job unless you pay them equivalent salaries that you would get in private industry? So at first, when I looked at this, I was kind of like saying, this guy's a jerk. But the fact is, he may be onto something. There isn't any small town in the state of New Jersey that shouldn't have their people paid for properly. Otherwise, you get corruption. And I don't know if anyone's heard of any corruption in New Jersey. Anyway, that's happening in Paterson. I could go into more detail, but why bother? A missing boy was pulled from a manhole after spending over a week trapped underground. His name was probably Benny Hill. Police in northern Germany said 8-year-old Joe disappeared on June 17th from his home in a town called Oldenburg. Search parties scoured the town for 8 days to find the boy until he heard whimpering coming from beneath a manhole cover just 65 feet from his home. Rescuers found Joe naked, cold, and dehydrated inside the sewer, but he was otherwise unharmed. Police say there were no signs of foul play and that Joe likely just got lost after climbing into the sewer on his own. They are using cameras to explore the damaged tunnels to figure out how Joe got lost. I'd say, how did Joe get naked? Or, shall we say, how did Benny Hill get naked in the sewer? About another lost boy. This one is a serious story. A team searching for the basement of a Mississippi courthouse turned up evidence of the lynching of a black teenager, Emmett Till, and an unserved warrant. Apparently, the warrant was given to a woman, Carolyn Bryant Donham, identified as Mrs. Roy Bryant on the document. They narrowed it down between the 50s and 60s and got lucky in finding this box. The search was started by Emmett Till Legacy Foundation and included 2 members of Till's family. So the family, who was very upset to this day, even though it was from 1955, were searching for evidence of this case in which this young boy, Emmett Till, had been killed. They found him in a river. Anyway, Donham set off the case in 1955 by accusing the 14-year-old Till of making improper advances at a family store in Money, Mississippi. A cousin of Till, who was there, has said Till whistled at the woman, which flew in the face of the Mississippi's racist social codes of the era. Evidence indicates a woman, possibly Donham, identified Till to the men who later killed him. The arrest warrant against Donham was publicized at the time, but the Lafleur County Sheriff told reporters he did not want to bother the woman since she had 2 young children to care for. Now she's in her 80s, and the family wants her served with this warrant. And I think it should be documented very thoroughly about the history of what went on in the 50s with the way blacks were treated. Anyway, it's so hard for us to understand when we hear the demands of black people saying that, they want reparations, or they just want more. But when you see a story like this where, basically this kid was murdered and then the police let the people go, it's just sad. There were actually 2 men who were friends of Mrs. Donham that went out, killed the young man, but then when they went to court, they got acquitted. Anyway, Till was from Chicago, visiting relatives in Mississippi when he entered the store where Donham, then 21, was working on August 24th, 1955. She was a kid too. A Till relative who was there at the time told AP that Till whistled at the woman. Donham testified in court that Till also grabbed her and made a lewd comment. 2 nights later, Donham's then husband, Roy Bryant, and his brother, J.W. Milam, showed up armed at the Royal Lafleur County home of Till's great-uncle, took the youth, brutalized him, weighted him down by a fan, and he was later pulled out of a river a couple days later. His mother decided to keep an open casket in Chicago so they could see what happened to the boy. This happened to help galvanize the building civil rights movement of the time. Bryant and Milam were acquitted of murder, but later admitted the killing in a magazine interview. While both men were named in the same warrant that accused Donham of kidnapping, authorities did not pursue the case following the acquittal. Wright testified during the murder trial that a person with a voice lighter than a man's identified Till. In other words, a woman's voice. Let's go on to other news. That's pretty sad, though, wouldn't you say? TikTok is now banned by the FCC commissioner, and Apple and Google have been asked to delete TikTok from its app stores. Just wondering what the people that still have TikTok are going to do. I mean, they really have a lot of TikTok members out there, but it's been proven that the Chinese are spying on America with TikTok. So basically, they know where you're taking that picture. They can see the geography. If they were going to do something to us, maybe a military action or something, they have all this information of all the conditions. You know who wanted TikTok removed? Trump. And now it seems that, yes, he was right. He was right to say that TikTok should not exist in America. Here's an important thing. Today, the president, CEO of Palantir Technologies, Alex Karp, said he sees a 20 to 30% risk of nuclear war over time. If you have a long duration, I think the risk is modelable, probably in like the 20 to 30% range, Karp said in an interview with CNBC from Davos. Karp discussed the possibility of a nuclear war on the company's Q1 results call earlier this month and said that probably such an event seems to be underreported. That's why we're telling you. The risk of a nuclear event is so much higher than it's being presented in the public world that it's almost surreal to watch the coverage, Karp said on the call. Recall in March, a research firm wrote that it saw a 10% chance of a nuclear apocalypse in the next year. If that doesn't scare the bejesus out of you, I don't know what will. Pay attention. Don't think that you can keep supporting China and Russia. Don't think that everything is just beautiful. Nuclear war will forever be a part of humanity. Don't think that you can lolly around and think that it's never going to happen, because it will happen, and the chance of it happening on American soil is high. Let's get on with it. Due to hard economic times, young child brides are again on the rise in Ethiopia. For advocates, the story highlighted the painstaking progress Ethiopia has made in its effort to confront the issue of child marriage, a widespread problem in African nation, according to an evaluation of UNICEF data compiled by Girls Not Brides, an international nonprofit working to end child marriage. The country, which according to the group has the 15th highest rate of child marriages in the world and the 5th highest total number of child brides, over 2 million, outlawed the practice nearly 20 years ago. With the assistance of various international organizations, Ethiopia also implemented a series of community-based programs that have worked to change cultural attitudes towards women and girls. Wow. Can you imagine someone taking your daughter as a wife when she's so young? I did actually hear that first several years ago, maybe 10 years ago, as I was dating a lovely woman named Zara from Iran. And she told me that oftentimes young girls 9 years old are married by Iranian men. Of course, not the more modern ones, but the ones of less education, I guess. So Turkey, they win. NATO officials said on Tuesday celebrated Turkey's lifting of its veto against Sweden and Finland joining the Transatlantic Alliance, a move that brought the Nordic states one step closer to full NATO membership 4 months after Russia launched its invasion of Ukraine. Turkey's initial opposition came as a major stumbling block and a surprise to many amid growing urgency among Western nations to push back against Russian President Putin. Finland and Sweden took a historic decision to end their non-aligned positions and join the alliance in the face of Russia's aggression. Thank God. I wouldn't trust the Turkish, though. Turkish President Erdogan was staunch in his demands of Sweden, which centered on the relationships with groups that Turkey's government deems as a terrorist threat. In other words, he didn't want Finland and Sweden to be friendly with Turkey's enemies. What is a big win for NATO is also a big win for Erdogan, analysts say, and one that the president needed in order to shore up domestic support as his economy flounders and Turks struggle with inflation that exceeded 70%. So much suffering in the world these days. Here at home, Supreme Court Justice Stephen Breyer will retire Thursday to be replaced by the liberal Ketanji Brown Jackson. Good luck, Ms. Jackson. And I hope you'll fare with everyone. Trump news. A New York judge on Wednesday lifted contempt of court order against former President Donald Trump that was imposed after he failed to comply with a subpoena. New York Supreme Court Judge Arthur Engoron said in a court filing that he lifted the contempt order after reviewing recent additional submissions from Trump's legal team. New York Attorney General Letitia James, whose office is conducting a probe into the Trump organization, agreed that the newly submitted documents were sufficient to lift the order. In other news, the young lady that accused Trump of attacking the Secret Service is being challenged by the Secret Service, and they are going to be publicly disclosing from their account exactly what happened. Trump has denied that he did not grab the wheel and he did not go for the person's throat. And I believe the Secret Service is going to come out and say the same. I'm sorry I don't have more news for you tonight. I'm not feeling great, but I'll see you tomorrow. And remember, it's never as it seems. Thank you. Good night.